Where did that come from?
Probably Bear Village. How the hell do I know?
Not the bear.
Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of the Morose Project. I'm Brad Rosen.
And I'm Aaron Moore.
Hey, man.
What's up, dude?
How's it going?
Oh, man. It's alright.
Yeah?
How about you, man?
Yeah, about the same. Had a interesting weekend. I don't know if I'd say it was fun, but it was definitely interesting.
Did you get drunk, get crunk?
I wouldn't go so far as to say I got crunk, but yeah, I got a little drunk. Not too bad, though, but...
Oh, yeah? Off that gin and juice?
Sure, let's go with that.
Just kidding. He drinks lean.
I don't even know what lean is. Sounds bad, though.
Get you fucked up. Oh, sorry.
So, I got a couple stories here. Ghostly stories, if you will.
Oh, is that what you're calling them now?
Yeah. You don't need to reference the other thing, because it was cut out of the show, so nobody else will know what you're talking about. Okay, so this first one is by Cooper Miller. It's Mysterious Abandoned Texoma Graveyard Haunted by Ghost of a 135-year-old Witch. I don't know how that's possible.
I don't know, her tits must be saggy as fuck.
She's gonna be like the Red Priestess. What is her name?
Melisandre?
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, here we go. Hidden off of FM 2326, just south of Electra, Texas, an almost out-of-place cemetery sits alone. The gate reading Rhonda 1881 reminisces to a time when a small community started to thrive, but dwindled, leaving the few citizens who passed alone in a small graveyard. Rhonda was a small town in the late 19th century consisting of only 75 people, a post office, and a store. Wow, it's not much better than where we live. However, after the post office was moved to nearby Herald in 1907 and the school was consolidated, the rural western town diminished away. Both the post office and school are long gone, so the cemetery is the only standing evidence of Rhonda, a town said to be named after a witch, with rumors of her being buried in this exact graveyard. Stories say that Rhonda's spirit can be seen rising from the grave and hovering around her headstone. However, most of the headstones cannot be read or are missing, and the ones that can be read are cracked, falling over, or eroded away. The graves consist of a variety of people and dates: a 6-day-old infant in 1890, a World War II vet in 1987, and his wife in 2006. Oh, that's
It's relatively recent.
Yeah, especially considering they said it died in the early 1900s. That's pretty crazy. The most recent date out there. Hints such as a young death and a Confederate flag next to a grave suggest a Civil War veteran lies here, and an Army captain's grave hidden in tall grass from 1893.
Ew.
Sunken in graves and unmarked stones cover the small cemetery, with 2 graves fenced off. One large grave is bordered with native stones but has no markings, leaving curiosity as to where or if Rhonda even lies here. Only 2 skimpy mesquite trees are on the lot, providing little shade, and pumpkins can be found in their adolescent stages, struggling to grow in the water-deprived soil. With only about 25 graves and roughly 8 of being readable, there's little exploring to be done, yet the quiet cemetery sitting in a seemingly vast area is intriguing and quite creepy. Finding it can be difficult, and it might not be worth the trip. So then why the hell did they write this story? And they have no evidence that she was a witch.
Exactly.
So why mention that at all?
They haven't really even mentioned her haunting the area or whatever.
They said she floats above the grave sometimes. But this lone lot contains history and mysteries seemingly forgotten. So yeah.
More like mysteries, because there ain't shit to the story.
Yeah. It's maybe you could have explained what some of those mysteries were.
Jinkies.
Yeah. So that was sadly not as interesting as I'd hoped. Guess I should have read the story before I brought it. I was just excited because I was like, a witch in Texoma. Texoma's close. Yeah. This next one, is a ghost story, but I heard it and it made me laugh so hard that I had to bring it here. It's from The Sun in the UK, and it's written by Mark Hodge.
It's from where?
The Sun. The Sun is a paper in the UK in Britain. I think they say specifically what part later on, because I did read most of this story. There's a lot of puns and entendres and stuff. Like, so much so that after a while it gets kind of annoying, but it's still a pretty funny story. So,
did you read this one before, though?
I read most of it. I didn't read all the way to the end, but I read a lot of it. So here we go. The title of the story is Spank the Monkey. The ghost of a masturbating ape haunts the hallways of a grand country estate in Dorset. There you go, in Dorset. It's right there in the title. Haunted Athelhampton Hall is a popular wedding venue with romantic spook hunters. The ghost of a randy monkey haunts the halls of a grand English country estate where romantic spook hunters flock to tie the knot. Like, why, of all the places, I get, like, if you're interested in hauntings and stuff, maybe you want to get married at a scary place, but why a place that's haunted by a jerking it monkey?
Yeah, like, why would you want, like, ectoplasmic semen, like, covering you as you're saying I do?
I don't know, but anyway, it goes on. Titillated tourists can often hear the saucy spectre laughing while masturbating in Athelhampton Hall in Dorset, near Dorchester. I like saucy spectre. That's an interesting way to put it.
Saucy spectre.
And the spooky venue even has soul-searching couples clamoring to have their weddings held there, in the hope of having the Pervy Primate appear in the background of their pictures. The lovable ape's afterlife antics have helped the hall to be named as one of the most haunted houses in England, after being listed on We Buy Any Homes list of the 9 most ghostly properties. I wish they had a link. I would totally read about the other 8. The 15th century house was originally built by the Martin family, whose crest featured an excited monkey sitting on a tree stump. That has to have been something they did afterwards. There's no way that's a coincidence, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
But could you just imagine? It's like, hey, look at that fucking monkey.
Well,
let's get married. The monkey's jacking it.
Well, I don't know. Like, I've never seen any crests with a monkey on it. I don't know what they symbolize.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of crests, but most of the ones I've seen have, like, lions or other
horses,
stuff. Yeah,
or hawks or some shit.
But the estate's motto was, "He who looks at Martin's ape will look at him." What does that even mean?
Eye contact, man. Sometimes it's just necessary.
And ever since the horny ghost of Martin's monkey has haunted the sprawling country, Pyle making it a go-to destination for curious phantom fanatics.
Curious George.
That's great. One tourist, dad of 3, John Morrison, 41, from Derby, took his entire family to the estate, spoke excitedly about the spanking spook. Oh my gosh. This is ridiculous. Why? Why take your family? And they point out he's the father of 3. So he's like, all right, kids, look at the monkey.
Like toddlers and some shit.
He's like, you want to see a monkey? We're not going to go to the zoo.
Crikey.
He said, we heard that Martin the monkey, who haunts the house, loves to scratch his privates while swinging around. And he's like, oh, I'm totally in, apparently. We didn't see him, which is a shame, because it would have been a real sight. Yeah, no kidding. Apparently he's not quite terrifying, quite friendly is what we heard. Well, I don't know. I'd be pretty terrified to see the ghost of an ape jacking. According to the local legend, the unconventional Martin family did have a pet ape which was free to wander the halls. And when one of the Martin daughters had an unhappy love affair and decided to kill herself, the compassionate monkey began following her around. Huh. When she climbed a set of hidden stairs to a secret room, the ape trailed behind and watched as she took her own life with the door bolted. Well, so she was in the room? I would think I wouldn't want the monkey in there. Especially if she locked herself in. By the time the family searched the house and grounds eventually located the room, the ape had starved to death next to her body. Oh, well, I guess he didn't eat her at least. Now the ghost haunts the hall, often scratching at the paneling of the secret room and staircase in an eternal, frantic attempt to escape. But the monkey is not alone. The house is reputed to have 6 other ghosts, all human. But everybody only cares about the monkey.
Yeah.
Athelhampton has long been known as a haunted spot and featured on TV's Most Haunted in 2002. There has been a structure on the site since Saxon times. Andrea Cook, who has lived at the house with her family for more than 20 years, said she has witnessed all sorts of odd and inexplicable things. Well, that's one way to put it, I guess.
That's how I describe a jerkin monkey.
I mean, it's pretty explicable. It's definitely odd, but, I mean, if it's that obvious, it's pretty explicable. But while many people have a rational explanation, she said, there are always some which do not. The most recent was a dark hooded figure which rushed past one of our cleaners. On the first sighting, she assumed she had imagined it, but then, 10 minutes later, it came towards her again, up the old servant's staircase, and hurried past her into a bathroom. She was terribly excited about it, having never witnessed such a thing.
Maybe he snorted some baby lax.
Maybe he at least has the decency to jerk it in private. What this was makes no sense at all. It is a figure our youngest son has seen on a couple of occasions, but the cleaner was unaware of this at the time. Despite all this, it is an amazing place to live. It is a beautiful home. We are happy here, and generally it has a lovely atmosphere in spite of the stories. But on the odd occasion when something does occur, and I must stress it is only occasionally, it reminds you that there are some things which are beyond our understanding. A spokesperson from We Buy Any Home said, whether you believe in ghosts or not, it's undeniable that some places, for whatever reason, just give us the creeps. Whether it be the old-fashioned decor, the eerie silence that hangs over the property, or the footsteps on the landing in the dead of the night, some properties give the feeling that they may be occupied by something or someone else. Andrea said that when her sons were younger, their friends refused to sleep over at Athelhampton Hall because of doors being agitated, figures at the end of your bed, figures stood in doorways, the sound of rapid footsteps backing backwards and forwards in your bedroom. But not about the monkey? Maybe that was like the reason why they wanted to come in the first place. I guess that's it. But yeah, I don't know, I thought it was hilarious that they had a story about a randy monkey ghost. Yeah. But, gosh, like I've said before, I'm all interested in spooky things and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think I'd go somewhere just because they're like, oh, we can watch a monkey jerk. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, not really.
There's that word again. So, also, I read tonight that Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly are going to play Sherlock Holmes and Dr. John Watson in a comedy called Holmes and Watson, written by Ethan Coen, who wrote Idiocracy and Get Hard and some other movies.
Mm-hmm.
God, that is such a genius idea. Like, I hope they put on British accents, though. That's the only, like...
The British accent.
Like, but can you imagine the two of them together? Like every time they're together, it's gold. But oh, I read that tonight and I got super excited. It's so funny.
I think Will Ferrell will be a good a good shitty Holmes.
Yeah, like, because obviously it's going to be a comedy, so I think if they were trying
a farce of it.
Yeah, if they were trying to do a more serious version, I would not be excited about that, but with it being a farce, that's totally cool. And like, don't get me wrong, because I love the character of Sherlock Holmes, but there's a shit ton of Sherlock Holmes stuff. Like, there was a movie last year with Ian McKellen where he played old Holmes, and there's
Robert
they're
Downey
making
Jr.
I think
version.
they're making another one with Robert Downey Jr. There's the one on BBC with Doctor Strange, aka
Benedict Cumberbatch.
well, I was gonna call him Smaug, but yes, his real name, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Come on my back. Hit that sweet spot.
And what's his face? Bilbo
Baggins.
Yeah. Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
And then there's an American version. Well, not an American version. I mean, I guess technically it is. With Johnny Lee Miller, who was on Dexter. He plays Holmes, and Holmes is British, but instead of working in England, he works in America, and Watson is played by Lucy Liu. I really enjoy that version, actually. But it's crazy that, like, they're just doing all these different versions. I still have yet to check out the BBC one, but I only hear good things, so I'll check it out eventually.
It was good. I never did watch the Lucy Liu version, though.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting. They made him like a heroin addict. So, like, he got kicked out of Scotland Yard or whatever, and that's why he's working in America. He's working for the New York Police Department as a consultant, and then I don't know if they specifically say she used to be a doctor. I think she was though. But now she's like
a medical doctor?
Yeah. But now she's like she's like also an investigator and stuff, and like sometimes she'll do investigations on her own without him and everything. It's pretty cool. So also recently, a couple days ago, and we just watched it. I don't know, you might have seen it already, but I just watched it for the first time. They put a new Rogue One trailer up.
Yeah.
Spoilers, although I think it was already known. I just don't think they've shown any pictures, but Vader's going to be in it, which, to be honest, I'm not really interested, or I wasn't really interested. I'm still not. Like, I love the Star Wars universe, so I'll watch it and everything. But I wasn't, like, 100% interested, because I don't really care about any of these characters, because I don't know any of the characters, and it's cool. I'm a little more interested now that Vader's going to be in it, but even then, that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, he's going to be in it for very long. He could only be in it for, like, a couple scenes or whatever. Whereas, I think the new one was good in the sense that it had the old characters, and then it brought in new ones, so now that obviously, spoilers if you haven't seen episode 7, now that Han's dead, and I'm sure Leia's not going to be in it much. There's no way Luke could be in it any less than he was already. Right. But I think he's going to be training Rey in this one. But, like, since they had all the original, well, not all, but the 3 original cast members, in the newest one, that, like, they were passing the torch on to these younger characters, and now we know these characters a little bit, and so that's what you can be excited about episode 8 for, and also because you're like, well, Luke will finally talk.
Maybe.
Yeah, hopefully. What if he's just silent for the whole movie? That'd be weird.
God, I'd kill myself.
Or what if it starts and, like, she was somehow followed by the bad guys and they immediately kill Luke? Like, oh, that'd be the worst.
It'd be kind of funny, though.
Like, if Luke dies, that's fine, but, like, if he dies, like, after having only been in the end for, like, 5 seconds of the end of 7, then he dies at the very beginning of 8, that would be so annoying. And speaking of movies that I love universe and characters and stuff. I think we've briefly mentioned it before, but I'm also like very uninterested in Fantastic Beasts and where to find them.
I'm actually pretty excited.
Like not the most recent trailer, but one I saw in the movie theater, I think before I saw Star Trek or something. It looked decent. And I was like, oh, again, I'm gonna watch it. I just not something that I have to see in the theater, or that I have to go day one like other movies, or that I have to do a midnight show.
I'm gonna make you though.
But if you make me, that's fine. I just, it's not one of those ones, because there are some movies where if I want to see, I'll go see it by myself, but that's definitely not one. That's one that if nobody asked me to go, I'd be fine with waiting for the DVD for. That being said, though, I'm hoping it's good, because they already said there's going to be 3 of them, so I'm sure they're hoping it's good, too.
Yeah.
It's again, and this one, at least with Rogue One, it takes place around the same time as Episode 4.
This one's a lot earlier.
But yeah, this one's like way earlier, before not any of the characters, but any of the kids that we knew are even born or anything. I mean, in fact, probably most of the other characters, with the exception of maybe Dumbledore, probably aren't even alive yet. So
McGonagall's alive.
Is she?
Yeah, she's
She that old? She
was around 70 when
But isn't that supposed to take place in like the 1800s or something?
I thought it was like early.
No,
1900s.
it might be early 1900s, because I think they do have cars and stuff.
Yeah, they do have cars.
So yeah, okay. I guess it's not. I thought it was even earlier.
It may have been around the time she was born.
Yeah, but I don't know. Just again, they'll really have to work for me to be interested in these characters. Is really all that I'm saying. But I'm open. I want to watch them and I want to like them. But
the main actor, he was in a movie called Hick, and
yeah, Eddie Redmayne. I've seen his face a lot, but I don't think I've actually seen any of the movies he was in. Like, I know he was in that one where he played a woman, and I know he was in, I think he played Stephen Hawking in that Stephen Hawking movie a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And he was in that Jupiter Ascending movie where Channing Tatum was a dog man, which looked absolutely terrible. And he's been in some other stuff. All that I've not seen, but that I've heard of and I know exist, but I don't think I've actually seen any movies with him in it.
Well, I saw Hick, and he played a really good deranged asshole.
That's
But I think he's won an award.
He was nominated for Stephen Hawking. I don't know. He might have won, but I don't remember, to be honest. It's funny because I always watch the awards, but then I don't ever really care, because most of the movies that I really like are either only nominated for like special effects and makeup, or aren't nominated at all. But So, speaking of Harry Potter, I see you got some fan theories you want to talk about.
I do.
I want to smack them down. Some of them I could see, but there's one in particular that I just, not at all. I just don't see it at all.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
First off, there's a theory that Draco is actually a werewolf.
See, that's an interesting theory. Are they theorizing that it happened later? Because he was in a full moon, I think, with Lupin, wasn't he, in the third one? And he didn't wolf out or anything. Weren't they trying to keep him safe?
He wasn't in the full moon.
From the wolf? No?
No, he wasn't.
It's been a while. It's been a while. I need to watch those again.
Yeah.
Because I love them so much.
There was that werewolf that was introduced. I think it was book/movie 6.
Fenrir, Greyback.
Yeah, Greyback. Yeah. Either 5 or 6.
Oh yeah, he did attack Draco, didn't he? At one point.
But it's also speculated that Draco was turned into a werewolf as punishment for his father's wrongdoings. Like, the failure with,
Oh yeah,
Tom Riddle's journal.
Yeah.
That was all on, Lucius.
Yeah, because he's the one who dumped it in Ginny's thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of Malfoy theories, it's not really a theory because it's in the actual thing, and spoilers for the first, 30 pages of the new book, which is really a script, if you haven't read it yet.
And like half the book.
Huh?
30 pages is like half that book.
No, that thing is like 400 pages.
Is it?
Yeah. Now, granted, it won't take long to read because it's in script format, so it's like 85 to 95% dialogue, which I love. But it's a fairly decent length. But anyway, so there's in the thing they say that people think that Malfoy's son is actually Voldemort's son.
Really?
Yeah, they say that. I don't remember exactly, but I think they say something like him and his wife went back in time, and his wife got it on with Voldemort, so Voldemort could pass on his son or something. Really,
it's possible.
It's weird, and I'm sure they'll explain it more into the, as I read more of that book and everything. But I thought that was interesting.
A little weird.
But yeah, hey, maybe they touch on that in the thing. Maybe you'll find out. I could go for that one. I'd have to reread the books, which will never happen, or rewatch the movies, but I don't think the movies really focus on it that much. But I could see that being a possibility.
Yeah.
What's the next theory?
The next theory is that
did you have anything else you wanted to say about it? That one?
No. I think.
Do you believe that? What are your thoughts on these theories?
I think some of them can be true. Some of them are a little far-fetched.
Yeah.
And they're kind of clawing. But I think, at least these first two, I think are highly plausible. The second one is that McGonagall is a traitor.
See, this one was interesting to me.
Everyone loves McGonagall.
Because, I don't really love her. I always, I thought she was funny and everything. I didn't hate her, but I don't. Why do they think that?
Well, it started off with the first movie book in the beginning when Dumbledore is walking down Private Drive.
Mm-hmm.
He sees the cat, who was actually McGonagall in Animagus form.
He knew it was her, though.
He knew it was her. He didn't know she was going to be there.
Ah.
And she's just been chilling and watching. So it's theorized that she knew that Harry was going to be dropped off. She didn't know Dumbledore was going to be there, and that it was possible that she was going to stop him. Stop Hagrid.
Dude's, and I know he's not supposed to use magic, but dude's huge. He could easily overpower that little old woman.
I don't know, man.
And my other problem with that, and again, I'm not saying it's wrong, so obviously,
right.
Unless J.K. Rowling has specifically said it's false, there's not really any way of knowing. I don't know, that just seems like, because if the Death Eaters knew, why wouldn't they have gone after him in that whole time? Because if they were all afraid of Harry the whole time, which they were, why wouldn't they have tried to go after him in that whole time, if they knew where he was, Although, didn't they say, they put a
protection
on the house or something?
Yeah, I think so.
But still, they could, get him at school or something. They can't protect him everywhere.
Well, no, not everywhere. Well, what do you mean school?
At,
Hogwarts?
Well, Hogwarts as well, but when he went to Muggle school for his first 10 or 11 years or whatever it was.
Was it ever mentioned that he went to school?
I mean, I would assume so. I would think they would have had to have at least let him go to school. I feel like he was at school with Dudley in one of the books or something, but
yeah,
maybe not.
I know it's been a while. Since I've read
was because when they went to the zoo, it wasn't a class trip, right? It was a family thing.
It was for his birthday.
Which is funny because, like, why would they have taken Harry?
Yeah.
If they hated him as much as they did.
I don't know. Maybe they didn't trust him at home alone.
There's going off of that theory. Fuck, I lost it. There was another theory. Maybe it'll come back to me. Another theory that I thought was pretty interesting, but yeah, I don't know. It's it's possible, but I don't know. I don't see it. But that's a good point. Like, why else would she have been there?
Right. Also,
Maybe she was just another set of eyes, though, trying to make sure the kid was safe.
Possibly. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
It's never explained. But they're also in the first book.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say, but go ahead. Are you going to your next thing?
No, I'm still on McGonagall.
Good, because...
in the first book, when Harry, Hermione, and Ron, they're going down...
down, baby. Sorry.
To stop who they think is Cerberus at the time from getting the Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, yeah.
They come across the Wizard's Chest, which is that's McGonagall's I guess trap for whoever's trying to get through. Well, apparently the board was set up and it wasn't like touched or anything. But Quirrell had already gone through.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd assume that maybe it, like, reset itself or something. Because also, like, it perfectly had 3 missing places. Or, no, 2 missing places, I guess, because Ron was on the night. But, you know, if Quirrell had gone through, obviously he would have been by himself, so they would have needed that extra piece. Yeah, I could see that. I don't remember that one being McGonagall's thing. But, I mean, if he knew all the other tricks to get down, he could have easily known how to either get through the wizard's chest and maybe it, like, resets itself or whatever, or maybe he knew how to get past it without having to do any of it at all.
Well, that's possible, too.
Because nobody knew it was Quirrell, so...
Oh, no.
Maybe she told him how to get around it without thinking anything bad about it. But what I was going to say is, there's a theory that Harry is only the chosen one because they picked Harry. Because, you know, Neville was, like, born on the same night and his parents were killed, or not killed, but they attempted to go after his parents the same way, and I think they warped their brains horribly or something, because I think his parents are alive, but they're in a nut house or whatever. So there is a theory that Neville is really the chosen one, but because Voldemort picked out Harry, that was why Harry ended up being the one to get all that shit happen to him, and to get all the Death Eaters and everything after him.
Lucky Neville,
right? Because which is very possible as well. But I don't know. Because again, I feel like if they, and I don't think they really, because I know Snape wasn't on anybody's side until, or I mean, he was on the Death Eater side until they killed Lily, because he was in love with her. But I don't know did they have a lot of traitors back and forth the whole time, or was that like, you know, I mean, I guess it could be, it's one thing, she could be a secret Death Eater, but like, if they don't, you know, and again, like you said, it's a theory, but if they didn't have spies, then why would McGonagall be one?
Yeah.
I believe she's still the headmaster in this new book. Again, I've only read like 30 some odd pages. I think 33 to be exact. But
well, yeah, but it was Because apparently it was during Tom Riddle, before he had become Lord Voldemort, she was actually in Hogwarts.
Yeah, she was
at the time.
Was she a teacher or was she a student?
I
She's
think
older
it
than Tom
student,
Riddle,
though.
isn't she?
Yeah, I think she was a prefect.
Oh.
I think they were around the same age.
You might be right. Because I know Dumbledore was the only one that ever saw through his shit when he was a kid. But, I don't know.
But apparently, she also calls Voldemort the Dark Lord. Which...
Does she?
Yeah. I can't remember which book it was in. But she calls him the Dark Lord. Which only the Death Eaters call him that.
Yeah.
And everyone else says, he who must not be named. Or Voldemort.
Yeah.
If you're Harry.
Big Daddy V.
Big Daddy V.
Apparently, J.K. Rowling recently said we've been saying it wrong the whole time. Apparently it's Voldemort. I guess you don't pronounce the T. But I say, it's too late to change that.
Right? The T's not silent.
And
Tom.
plus, like, she was involved, she didn't write the movies, but she was, yeah, there you go. The T's not silent in Tom, and he got it from his own name. But she didn't write the movies, but I'm pretty sure she had okay over everything.
Yeah,
so why
she
wouldn't she have been like, hey, all you idiots are saying his name wrong?
Right?
Like, what is this, some kind of Stephen Colbert type thing?
Colbert.
Well, that's funny, because when the writer's strike, God, it was so long ago now. It still feels like it was only recently, but I think it was like 8 or 9 years ago. But when they had the writer's strike, regular TV shows, like scripted programming, was totally stopped. Nothing at all. And late night stuff like Conan O'Brien and Jay Leno and Colbert and The Daily Show and all the other late night shows, at some point they had to come back from the writer's strike, even though the writer's strike technically wasn't over, so they were writing with either like a very small staff of non-guild writers or possibly no. Conan always joked, because I remember those were some of the best Conan episodes, but he always joked that they had no writers at all and they just made everything up as they were going. But when Colbert did that, he called it the Colbert Report, just to make it like this isn't the real show because the writers aren't here working with us.
Right.
Which I thought was funny and a nice thing to do for the writers. But yeah. So I don't know. That's just, I could see that one definitely more so than the next one on your list. But I still, maybe it's just because I want to believe she was good the whole time. Because really, she fights and kills a bunch of Death Eaters in that last book/movie. So
do we ever see her killing anyone, though?
I'm pretty sure we do. I could be wrong. It's been a while. Again, it's been a while since I've seen or read the book, or seen the movie. So I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure, at least in the book, maybe not in the movie, but I was pretty sure she killed a couple of them. Maybe she just didn't like those ones anyway, though, and she just...
Maybe.
Or maybe she realized her side was going to lose, so she was just like, well, I guess I'll keep on the side that's winning or something.
Yeah. But this next one is the one that you definitely don't really agree with.
Yeah.
And it's that the Horcrux in Harry is what made the Dursleys hate him. And
you told me all 4 of these before we started recording, and this is the only one I'd heard of before.
Because I think we've talked about it prior to this.
Yeah, and I think I've also seen it online before, too.
Probably.
It's an interesting theory, but I just... Only because of the fact that she made it obvious in the books that Petunia always hated his mother and was always jealous that his mother was the one chosen for the witchcraft school and not her. That's why, and granted, that still doesn't entirely explain why Dudley and Vernon hated him, but if she hated him that much, she probably could have, since she was obviously, Dudley was really the controlling one of the house, but she obviously controlled Vernon, so she could, skew his opinion, and if they were always being shitty to Harry the whole time, then that could be why Dudley picked up on being shitty to him, too.
Well, he's a spoiled fucking brat.
Yeah, so it's possible, but this is definitely the one that I think is least likely to be true.
Yeah. I would like for it to be true, though.
Yeah, it would be nice to know that they weren't all shitty the whole time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, jealousy does stupid stuff.
It does.
So I could see it. I could see both. I could see it both ways, but like I said, because she specifically pointed it out that Petunia always hated Lily, I kind of feel like that's not the case, that the Horcrux is why. But at the same time, I mean, that was why they all got shitty with each other in the woods, in the last one.
Yeah, and
Ron, Harry, and Hermione.
Well, but, she hated her sister because she was a witch.
Yeah.
Harry wasn't necessarily going to be a wizard.
No.
I mean, it was more probable, but...
That's true, but, I mean, I don't know. If you hate your sister and you hate her husband, then you're probably going to hate the kid. Plus, I also feel like in the book, again, I don't think it was in any of the movies, but in the book, I think she told him that was why she hated him, because he looked so much like her, and he had her eyes, that she just, every time she saw Harry, she saw her sister, and she really fucking hated her sister.
That could have been it.
But yeah, it's possible.
The last one, which I don't
this
know,
one
it's kind of up in the air for me.
This one I actually feel like J.K. Rowling has said is true. I could be wrong, but I feel like this one she has said is true.
Yeah,
and again, it might be touched on in this more recent book. Now I feel like I have to read it just so I can tell you about it. Because I know you're not going to read it. Although maybe if I give you a good review and let you borrow the book, you might check it out. But anyway, go ahead and tell the people.
That Harry is immortal after killing Voldemort.
Mm-hmm.
Or rather, after killing Voldemort.
I mean, technically, he died. Technically, Voldemort died, or Voldemort killed him, but he killed the Horcrux. Yeah. And that was why Harry was able to come back to life. I mean, I could see it, because technically Harry did die, and then instead of going into heaven, or whatever the wizard version of heaven would be, he came back to keep fighting.
Yeah.
So I could see how maybe he is immortal. I feel like they allude to it. Like, I feel like they said, like, shit happened in his working as an Auror, and it didn't faze him because he couldn't die. But again, I don't remember for sure.
Yeah. Well, there was a whole that prophecy or whatever. Neither can live while the other, or neither can live while the other exists.
Yeah.
I mean, you can die of old age or whatever, but that's saying that Harry's gonna live now that Voldemort's dead.
I mean, he is the boy who lived, so maybe that's like a permanent thing.
Maybe. And that would be, like, the shittiest thing for Harry, too.
Yeah.
Because all he cares about is his family and friends.
Yeah, and then he'd get to watch them all die and stuff.
And never, join them in whatever afterlife that the wizarding world has.
Maybe they just all live up in Merlin's beard.
Maybe. Maybe.
I don't know. Some of those are really interesting. Like I said, that third one, I don't agree with at all. And that last one, I really feel like I've read somewhere has been confirmed, but I could be mixing my mythologies, because I know Indiana Jones is immortal because he drank from the cup in the Last Crusade. Although they make it seem like he would have had to stay in the room to stay immortal, but he did survive a nuclear blast by just being in a fridge. And even though that's from the shittiest Indiana Jones movie that 90% of the time I act like doesn't exist, that still happened. So
Yeah, and even if he survived, the explosion itself and the fall in the fridge or whatever,
yeah, because
there's still that nuclear radiation.
Yeah, that's true, and none of it phased him. So, but I love those movies so much.
But yeah, you can die by a lightsaber.
Yeah. I keep wanting to go back and watch those movies, and there's not a lot of them. I mean, there's 4 if I want to watch the 4th one, or 3 if I only want to watch the good ones. But I love them so much.
I had such a shitty experience watching the 4th one. Not because, it's a bad movie or anything. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was this kid sitting behind me in the theater. Any time, they would go over, a waterfall, he'd come close to, getting his head chopped off. Or he jumped 5 feet in the air. This kid would be like, oh my god. Oh my what the fuck, dude?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and then it pissed me off the entire time.
What's funny is a friend of mine let me borrow that movie. It was while it was still in theaters, because I remember it was not a good copy, but they had, downloaded a illegal copy or whatever, and then given me the disc that they burned it on.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it, and I don't know why. I guess I just kept pausing it and walking away and coming back or whatever, but it's a 2-hour and 10-minute movie or something. It took me 4.5 hours to watch it.
Christ, man.
And it's just, I don't know. It has some good moments, but I think that was when Shia LaBeouf started to go off the deep end.
Yeah.
And B, the whole aliens thing. And clearly all those other movies had, mystic and supernatural shit and stuff, but when they threw aliens into the mix, it didn't sit right.
Yeah, I mean, they threw God kind of in there.
Yeah.
In a way, like the Lost Ark or whatever.
Yeah. That one.
I mean, that's pretty. I mean, it's like another alien.
Yeah, but I mean, those kind of all. I mean, because I feel like the character was very religious the whole genre, so that wasn't that or the whole trilogy. So that wasn't as out of nowhere as aliens were. I mean, if they had just mentioned that it was possible it was aliens at the beginning of the 4th movie, I probably wouldn't have been so angry when it turned out to be aliens at the end. But I don't know. It was just weird.
Was it the same director that directed the original trilogy?
All of them have been directed by Steven Spielberg.
Okay, I can't remember if it was.
And he seems to be dead set on making the 5th, and I keep hoping beyond hope that Chris Pratt will get to play the new Indiana Jones, but he keeps saying we're only going to make him with Harrison Ford.
He's just getting too fucking old, man.
Not just that, he's just he's too angry, and another reason why I loved Episode 7 so much was he wasn't really angry. He was kind of the funny guy in that one and everything, and it looked like he was having fun for the first time in 20 years. Yeah.
Maybe they'll kill off Indiana Jones too.
Maybe, but I don't know. I mean, he was more willing to go back to that one. I mean, he did the new Indiana Jones before he ever went back to Star Wars. So, and it's funny to me how he hated Star Wars so much because he didn't want to be known as one character, but Indiana Jones was kind of the same thing.
Yeah, they're both pretty defining for him.
Yeah. Because, he's done lots of other stuff and been good in lots of other stuff, but to me, he'll always be Indiana Jones and Han Solo.
Yeah.
And actually, he'll be more Han Solo than Indiana Jones, but I love both of those characters a lot. But I really do think if they would have done it maybe 10 years ago, Nathan Fillion would have been a great young Indiana Jones, but I think now, Chris Pratt would be perfect. But
I love Chris Pratt.
I do too. I liked him. I'd seen him. I've only seen I think the first 2 seasons of Parks and Rec, but I loved him on that show. But then I loved him even more in Guardians, which is kind of like space Indiana Jones a little bit.
Kind of, yeah.
And then he was great in Jurassic World.
I hated that movie.
Did you? I liked it. Like, I didn't love it because it did have problems, but I loved him, and
He was great.
I liked certain aspects. I liked that they brought the T-Rex from the first one back.
Yeah, that was cool. It's just like I felt like the ending was very anticlimactic. It was just like, you know, they had the big ass fighting scene.
Yeah.
And they ended
But come
it by
on,
like,
they had the fucking raptor on the back of the T-Rex. That was
Yeah, I
awesome.
know.
But I will agree that the giant fish dinosaur that
Megalodon
jumped
or
out
something.
and ate the
the hybrid
dinosaur that they made, that was a bit of a bummer. Because,
Yeah.
like, they were finally gonna kick its ass, and then out of nowhere, the whale dinosaur thingy just comes up and fucking eats them.
Yeah.
So I'll agree with that, but, like, I love just seeing the raptors on the back of the T-Rex so much that I forgive it for that.
My favorite part of that movie was the margarita dude.
Margarita, dude.
Yeah, when those pterodactyls were like flying and like flew into just that I guess like shopping mall center in Jurassic World. This dude was sitting at a table and like they were flying by and he just jumps up and he has like a margarita in each hand and he runs off with them.
That's hilarious.
Like, that's totally me.
I don't know why, because, the character was not good at her job, but other than that, she wasn't a bad character. She wasn't evil and didn't deserve it, but I loved it when that woman got picked up by the pterodactyl and got fucking dragged around and, like, they were fighting over her and stuff, and then they dropped... And I know that the only reason that the last part happened where they dropped her and the fish dinosaur ate her was so it could preclude when the one came up at the end.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, there you go. That's the word. But still, it was so funny to me. To be honest, though, my biggest problem with the movie was Jimmy Fallon. I fucking hate Jimmy Fallon. And not like, he seems like a nice guy and everything, but just for whatever reason, he annoys the crap out of me. And, like, I've said this before, but fucking, it bears repeating, because it's one of my favorite things I've ever said about Jimmy Fallon, is nobody loves Jimmy Fallon as much as Jimmy Fallon loves Jimmy Fallon. And just, I don't know, he annoys the crap out of me. Also, he just was terrible on Saturday Night Live. He was one of those guys who would always laugh at his own stuff and look at the camera when you're not supposed to. Mm-hmm. Like, when it calls for it in a scene and you're supposed to look at the camera, like when it happened every time in Deadpool, I love that. But when you're not supposed to look at the camera and he's, like, laughing when he's not supposed to be and he's looking dead at the camera, I'm like, I hate you so much. But yeah, those are some good theories, though.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you want to talk about before we get into our...
Well, didn't you tell me that you were catching up on Daredevil?
Oh, yeah. Fuck, I totally forgot. We were having such a good time shitting on Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, so I'd watched about half the season when it started last year, and I loved it. But watching it took away from me watching my stuff on my DVR. So I stopped watching it because I was like, well, it's a Netflix show, so as long as I have Netflix, I can watch Daredevil whenever. And now that I finally don't have TV or a DVR anymore, I was like, oh, I can watch Daredevil. So I watched the last half of Season 1, and I watched the first 4 of Season 2, and... I know you've tried it out and it's not for you, but fuck, it's so good. Like, and Daredevil is not a character that I like the character and I love the fact that he's blind and he still fights and everything. I think that's an awesome aspect. But he's not really a character I ever cared about. I didn't hate the Ben Affleck movie like a lot of people did.
I didn't either.
And also there's an R-rated version, which is actually really good. The one they put in theaters is just okay, but the R-rated one was really good. It's like 20 minutes longer, and also it's R-rated, so it's closer to the darkness of the character. But what I love about Daredevil... There's a lot of stuff, because the characters are great, and they're very close to the comics, and everybody every actor on the show is really good. The dude who plays the main bad guy in season 1, Wilson Fisk, Vincent D'Onofrio, is fucking great. The guy who plays Daredevil is awesome, and he's not blind at all, but, like, whenever there's a scene where he's not wearing glasses or wearing the mask or whatever, like, he literally has his eyes kind of fucked up, like, cross-eyed or whatever, like I would assume a blind person would, which I always thought was really cool, because, you know, he could just look dead ahead like he's pretending to be blind, but he actually sells that he is blind.
Maybe contacts, maybe, or something.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't even think about that. But whatever it is, it works great.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm only 4 episodes into season 2, but season 2 they bring the Punisher in, and he's played by John Bernthal, who played Shane on The Walking Dead. You can't protect her, Rick! You can't protect her! And, like, granted, I know you weren't supposed to like Shane on The Walking Dead, but I didn't not like him because he was because he was an asshole character. I just didn't like him because of that guy.
Yeah.
So, and I'd seen him in some other stuff. Some stuff he was good in, and other stuff I didn't really care for him in. But so far, in these first 4 episodes, he's fucking a great Punisher. And, like, in this last one I watched, he's telling Daredevil... He didn't tell him the whole story, but he told him a bit why he's going after all the bad guys and shit like he is. And it's perfect writing, perfect acting, and, like, I fucking cried. Because he tells a story of how he's, like, he was in the military. I don't remember if he was Army or something else. Because I thought he said Army, but then they showed a picture and he looked like he was a Marine or something. But he came home to his daughter... And, you know, he had a wife and a daughter and a son, but clearly he makes it obvious the daughter was his favorite. And he's talking about how, like, you know, he came to her school to surprise her, and how fucking everybody, you know, the teacher was recording, because I guess she either saw him come in or she knew it was going to happen or whatever. And fucking, he said... Everybody in the classroom was crying. The teacher was recording it because she was going to put it on YouTube. And, because, you know, that's what they do. Like, if you ever want a good cry, fucking go on YouTube and watch Soldiers Returning. It's fucking, like, and I respect the shit out of the soldiers, but it's so, like, fucking, I'll cry like a little bitch if I watch even, like, one soldier returning home, let alone when they have, like, 5 videos in one, so it's like 5 minutes of that shit. And, like, you know, and it could even be just like the soldier returning home and, like, the dog sees him, and, like, you're like, oh, the fucking dog.
Right.
And, like, and, you know, obviously the families too, but, like, for whatever reason, when the dog gets excited to see him and stuff, yeah. But so he's telling the story about his daughter, and he says everybody in the classroom is crying, and he says even he was crying, but the daughter wasn't, because she was so happy to see him that she couldn't even cry or whatever. And then he talks about how, like, I don't know if it was later that day or, like, you know, weeks or months later or whatever, but he's, like, putting her to bed or whatever, and she asked him to read her a story, and he said he was really tired, so he told her, he said, not tonight, but I promise I'll read you tomorrow. And he goes, fucking, I'm gonna cry just telling you about it. But he goes, but I didn't think that there wouldn't be a tomorrow for her. And, like, so he doesn't tell him what happened, but fucking, if you read the comics or have seen any of the movies, you know that the fucking mob comes in and kills his wife, his daughter, and his son. And they try to kill him. In this, they say he shot him in the head, but whatever, I guess it, like, bounced off his skull or whatever and didn't kill him. I feel like in other versions, they just, like, totally miss him, because I feel like in the Punisher movie that I like the most, they're at the beach or whatever, and everybody gets shot, and he just somehow doesn't get hit, like, anywhere that would kill him. But fucking, it was just so sad when he talked about how, like, he's like, I promised her I'd read it tomorrow, but I never thought that tomorrow wouldn't come for her. And I was just like, fuck. It was so, like, he's fucking great on the show is what I'm getting at. But what I love the most about that show is all the Marvel movies are light, and there's light moments in the show as well, but they're light, and they fight, but most of the time they fight like aliens or robots or whatever. So there's not a lot of there's violence, but there's not blood, so it's not really that violent. But fucking Daredevil is violent as fuck. Like it is straight up, and it's rated TVMA, which is like R for TV. And it is straight up fucked up. Like literally in the fourth episode, Wilson Fisk bashes a guy's head in with a car door. It is so fucked up. It's bloody, and they cuss, and that's exactly the type of show that you would expect for Daredevil, which is why I say the R-rated version is better rated than the PG-13 and stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, fucking Daredevil is really good. At the very end of the episode I finished earlier, Elektra finally shows up. So shit's really about to go down now.
Who plays Elektra?
I've never seen her before, or if I have, I don't recognize her. I think she's actually a Greek actress.
Oh, well, right on.
Which is... I think she's Greek. I could be wrong. But the character is Greek. So,
right.
She's definitely, and maybe she just has a tan, but she's definitely darker than Jennifer Garner, who played her in the movie, and who played her in the Daredevil movie, and then played her in the Elektra movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of cool. I mean, I never saw the movie, but it's cool that they actually...
The Elektra movie?
That they actually gave her a movie, considering I don't think... Daredevil did okay, but I don't think it was a smashing success like a lot of more recent comic book movies are.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I'll probably finish the show by the time we come back to record next week, so I'll give an update on that. But I'm enjoying the crap out of it, man. I really am.
That's good.
Yeah. So we went a little longer than I expected, so I'm only going to do one song today. Well, that just means we'll get to savor. I think we had some good stuff in here anyway, but it just means we'll get to savor some more for the next time. But this one is called Change, and here's the intro. Man, it's scary as hell. I'm afraid of the story I'm going to tell. Everything is changing, why can't it stay? I wish it was all the same way. But that's why life is so great. You never know what's going to be on your plate. I still wish it wouldn't change. Why does it have to rearrange? Verse 1. I won't lie or deny I hate change. I hate it, it's so fucking strange. Maybe I'm deranged, but it's just how I feel. What else can I say? It's just I like what's real. I like it better that way. Again, my handwriting was terrible. It's not much better now, but it's at least I could read it. Probably. I believe everything happens for a reason, but I feel things change too much every season. And then back to the chorus. Everything is changing, why can't it stay? I wish it was all the same way. But that's why life is so great, you never know what's going to be on your plate. I still wish it wouldn't change, why does it have to rearrange? Verse 2, it's driving me crazy. Is it because I'm too fucking lazy? This behavior is not acceptable, but I will never be susceptible. I don't think I even knew what that word meant. What? I don't know. I'm not going to be discreet. If I was, I would be accepting defeat. And then back to the chorus. Everything is changing, why can't it stay? I wish it was all the same way. But that's why life is so great. You never know what's going to be on your plate. I still wish it wouldn't change. Why does it have to rearrange? And then finally, verse 3. Well, I should learn that shit happens. There's nothing I can do, but I know it's true. So I should just stop feeling so blue. I have made up my mind. It's time to fast forward, not rewind.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know. You won't this time, but don't get used to it, because I know you're full of shit. That last line makes absolutely
random.
no sense.
What the fuck?
But yeah, so that's that one. That was called Change.
That's probably one of the worst ones so far.
Yeah, like last
None of
week's
that made
weren't
sense.
bad. The first week was, well, not the first week, but the first time we did it, they were pretty terrible. But that one was really bad, especially that last line out of nowhere made no sense whatsoever.
At least the other ones were like cohesive and.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fast, or I'm gonna fast forward.
I'm not gonna rewind.
Not like I could anyway. Not like I'm some time turner or something.
I'm really curious as to what you were susceptible to.
Change, I guess. I don't know.
Heroin addiction?
Maybe. But yeah. So you got anything else?
I actually do. I want to give a shout out to a couple friends of ours.
Right on.
Our friend Kurt and our other friend Brandon. They both have a YouTube pages.
Are they gonna give us shout outs? I don't want to give no free shout out if we ain't gonna get any in return.
These are our friends, man.
Now to be fair, I want both of these people on, and we'll definitely shout them out then.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do it now as well.
Oh.
But you know what's funny is I totally forget what, but I was gonna shout out Brandon earlier for something. 'Cause I wasn't, because I was like, oh, he doesn't listen. But then I remember he told me he listened with his roommate a couple weeks ago to all the ones we had up till that point. But I totally can't remember what I was going to shout him out for now. But anyway, okay, go ahead. They both have YouTube pages.
Yeah, and Curts is called Curts Corner.
Right.
And Brandon's is called Grim Productions. You guys should go check them out. They're... I think they mostly dabble in video games. Kurt probably has some debauchery there too.
Yeah.
Knowing him. Also, I'd like to shout out to Johnny for getting his DM to start listening.
That's hilarious to me.
But yeah, I think that's it for now. You got anything to add?
No, I don't think so. I wish I could remember now, since we're giving shout-outs, that, what I wanted to shout Brandon out for earlier, but, oh well. Yeah, I really, this is apropos of nothing, and, you know, today's episode was great, but I really want to get a guest in here. I really, really do.
Yeah, we'll have to plan on that.
Shout out to our boy Trent. We got some microphones, so hopefully,
Our next video, we can use them.
yeah, hopefully they'll sound... I listen back to all these, and none of them sound terrible, but maybe these microphones will sound a little better. But I guess that's it for this week. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Remember, Morose Project on Facebook, Twitter, moroseproject69@gmail.com, because we're children. And I'm Brad Brosen.
I'm Aaron Moore.
And remember, fat guys try harder.
Dicks out for Harambe.